Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about putting together an ultra cheap gaming PC, but we're not doing it from scratch like we normally would with PC Part Picker or even going the used route with eBay. Today we're going to start with a very readily available, already built out system, and yes, it's readily available from places even as simple to get to as eBay, and I'll show you a couple of them there. And then we're going to turn an old desktop into a true and proper gaming PC that can play modern AAA games at respectable settings that would still beat consoles at a price point that is lower than current generation consoles. Let's hop to it. Before we get going, I just want to point out a couple things. First off, every computer is not suitable for turning into a gaming PC. For example, a lot of small form factor computers like the Dell small form factor Optiplexes that are also readily available on eBay, as well as the regular Micro ATX mid-tower type version. Those ones aren't really suitable because they will not accept a full-size graphics card, which is key to getting us into a gaming PC from a non-gaming PC. The other thing you want to watch out for is try to find one with an i5 processor already in there. And the reason for that is i5 processors have 4 physical cores. Now i3s do work for gaming still because they are dual core processors with hyper-threading, meaning there are 4 threads. However, the true quad core of the i5 will always be better, and if you can find one with the right price, an i7 obviously is even better than that. Now, the computer that I am working with today was a Dell Optiplex 390. It is a Core i3 processor, clocked at 3.3 gigahertz, and it did come with a 160 gigabyte hard drive. However, I found it more beneficial to quickly replace that with an SSD of my own choosing. In my case, a 240 gigabyte SSD, which are readily available for around the $65 price point, brand new. Now, the Optiplexes that I'm showing you, or that I recommend you try to find, have i5 processors already in them. However, upgrading one with an i3 processor is not that expensive anyways, because the i5 2400s are actually readily available on eBay for a pretty cheap price point. So if you have no other option, then upgrading an i3 one would be just fine as well. Now, there's obviously a few things I want to point out that I did to this particular Dell that you can sort of leave it as is or take it. First and foremost is most of the Dell Optiplexes that I've seen come with one stick of 4 gigabytes of RAM. Now obviously I just happen to have this 8 gigabyte stick laying around, so I went ahead and made that replacement. However, you are absolutely under no mandate that says you have to run 8 gigabytes. That being said, if you are able to add another 4 gig stick of DDR3 RAM to these, that will help your gaming performance and give you a little bit more wiggle room in overhead cost. The next thing I wanted to point out is in this system, we have a GTX 660, and I found these, I've bought a couple of them on eBay now, and I've found that they are typically around 80, 90, $100 at the most is the most you should ever pay for this. For a 660 right now, especially as those prices continue to come down. However, other cards that you may want to consider are 750 Ti's are extremely cheap on eBay, used or even brand new for that matter. The other thing that is sort of unique about the way that I've done up this system is if you look up here, and I can get it to focus, you'll notice that the maximum wattage is 265 watts. And what I found was when I ran this system at full load with both the processor and the graphics card both going at the same time, I was hitting about 240-ish, 235 watts. So I did still have a little bit of headroom where I could probably fit a 660 Ti in here and not really have any sort of issue. And that was a full load worst case scenario too. So I have no problem with running this power supply as is. And to do that, because this power supply has no PCIe plugs by itself. I just bought a couple of these, and this came in a 2-pack, which is why I have a spare one. But it's a SATA power to PCIe 6-pin power, and they ran, I don't know, something like $5 for the 2-pack. And you'll notice that down here is where that plugs in, and I just sort of run it through there. It's not an elegant solution by any means. However, it does get the job done. And the other nice thing, or at least kind of nice thing, with this particular computer, and not all of them do, but this one does come with a DVD drive, and that's just sort of nice in case you are working with, just old DVDs you want to watch or whatever. Disk drives are more or less obsolete, but it's not a bad thing to have one laying around. So that's just sort of how I set this one up. Like I said, always better if you have an i5 under your heatsink there. If at all possible, find an Optiplex. Those are usually about $150 on eBay. However, if you have an i3, you can make it work. And this computer, by the way, was able to play modern AAA games like GTA 5. Even though you do have to sort of knock down some of the settings, this will get you in the door of PC gaming for extremely cheap. So the big question really is, how much does this system cost to get you into the door of PC gaming? Now, like I mentioned, I paid roughly $80 after shipping for my Optiplex 390, so that puts us at $80. Then $70 for a 240 gigabyte SSD is something you can go pick up on Amazon right now, and you may be able to shop around elsewhere a little bit for used ones on eBay, or if you happen to have one laying around, even better. But you can get a 240 gigabyte SSD for $70 all day long on Amazon. That brings us to $150. In a quick Google search, I was able to find GTX 660 Ti's for buy it now prices with free shipping for $90. And that is one with, it's an ASUS card with aftermarket cooling, so it'll give you great cooling as well. That brings our total up to $240. And then the adapter that I mentioned earlier, I got that in a 2-pack. I just checked the Amazon price, and it is a total of just $6. And that's actually more than it costs, like $5.50 or something like that for a 2-pack of those. So that brings your total cost up to right around $246. And again, that'll give you an i3 processor with 4 threads of computing power there. That'll give you a 4 gigabyte system with a GTX 660 Ti, 240 gigabyte SSD. And the nice thing about most of these Optiplex systems is they come with a Windows license already installed and ready to go, so you can actually hop right in. There's even no OS overhead cost. And also, I will point out that if you are somebody that is running Windows 7 or newer, and you use accessibility functions of the Windows operating system because of some sort of disability or anything like that, to my knowledge, as of the videotaping of this video, Microsoft is still offering a free upgrade to Windows 10 if you go through their accessibility website and download some sort of like agreement. You can still get that free upgrade. So if you're somebody that uses any kind of accessibility functions, you can still get that free Windows 10 upgrade that was offered previously to all versions of Windows 10. And the last thing I really want to mention with this system, or this type of system build, is that there is an upgrade path for you even if you get the i3 variant, and that comes simply because we have a motherboard that supports the 2000 series of Intel processor. So that still gives us access to the quad-core i5s or even the hyper-threaded quad-core i7s. Can take us clear up to 8 threads. Now, although they're not new processors, they will give us great gaming performance, even if, or especially if we pair them with really solid graphics cards down the road. Now, if we're upgrading past about an i5 though, we will need to start thinking about upgrading that power supply. But since the case, the Optiplex 390 is put in, supports ATX power supplies, micro ATX motherboards, we have a lot of flexibility with what we can do. And the case, in fact, gives us an option even if we're upgrading past this cycle. We don't really have to get rid of the case for this computer. So there is, in fact, an upgrade path for this platform if you decide to go this route. Well, that's it, guys. If you like this type of video, you like to see things like this and want to see more things like it, then give me a big like down below. Also hit that subscribe button, share button down below. Those things all help me out a whole lot. You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at Hoosier Hardware. I'm Shane. I will see you in the next video.